Alexander Fleming, the man who turned mold into medicine, 1881 to 1955. London, 1928. The laboratory was a mess. Glass plates stacked carelessly, dishes left uncovered, dust and bacteria scattered across the benches. To most scientists, it looked like chaos. But in that chaos, Alexander Fleming saw something extraordinary. On one forgotten petri dish, a strange green mold had begun to grow. Around it, the colonies of bacteria had vanished, as if life itself had drawn a boundary around death. Fleming leaned closer, frowning, then smiled. "That's funny," he murmured. "It seems the mold is killing the bacteria." That moment, quiet, accidental, almost absurd, would change the history of medicine forever. Fleming was born in 1881, on a small Scottish farm. His childhood was simple: fresh air, animals, muddy fields. But he had a sharp eye for detail and a patient, curious mind, traits that would one day save humanity. He studied medicine in London and joined St. Mary's Hospital, where he became a bacteriologist. He was known not for his discipline, but for his intuition. Colleagues called him lucky. He called it observation. During World War I, Fleming served as an army doctor. He saw soldiers die not from bullets, but from infection, wounds turning septic, fevers raging uncontrollably. He realized that the greatest killer on the battlefield was not steel, but bacteria. He vowed to find a way to stop it. Years later, back in his cluttered lab, that vow found its answer. He identified the green mold as a strain of Penicillium notatum, which secreted a substance that destroyed disease-causing bacteria. He named it penicillin. At first, few believed him. His early extracts were unstable, weak, and impossible to mass-produce. Scientific journals ignored the discovery. Penicillin sat in obscurity, a miracle sleeping in a bottle. Fleming moved on, quietly continuing his research, while the world marched toward another war. Then came World War II, and with it, a desperate need for something to fight infection. In the early 1940s, two other scientists, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, rediscovered Fleming's papers. They refined his idea, extracted pure penicillin, and began testing it on dying soldiers. The results were miraculous. Wounds healed. Fevers broke. Men who would have died walked again. Factories across America began producing penicillin by the ton. It became known as the wonder drug. When the war ended, millions were alive because of that forgotten mold in Fleming's petri dish. In 1945, Alexander Fleming, Howard Florey, and Ernst Chain shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. When reporters asked how he discovered penicillin, Fleming smiled gently. "I didn't invent penicillin," he said. "Nature did. I just found it." He was a humble man, still more comfortable in his messy lab than under the bright lights of fame. He warned against overuse, predicting that one day bacteria might grow resistant. His words, decades later, would prove prophetic. Fleming died in 1955, quietly, as he had lived, not as a hero seeking glory, but as a scientist seeking truth. Yet his legacy endures in every hospital, every life saved from infection, every antibiotic that traces its lineage back to that single moldy dish. He once said, "When I woke up after dawn on September 28, 1928, I didn't plan to revolutionize medicine. I simply went to my lab, and there was the discovery." Alexander Fleming didn't conquer disease by force or design. He simply looked closer. And in a world of chaos, he found the pattern of life's protection.